We take a look back at the Auburn Tigers regular season on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Let's go, man. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm your host, Dustin Smith, joined as always by my guy, Blake Lane. Tonight, we're going to do some grades, man, pass out some awards, take a look back and talk about what we liked, maybe what we didn't like of this 2023 Auburn Tigers regular season, man. Hugh Freeze's first season on the Plains. How are you tonight, Blake?
What is up, Uptempo family? What's up, Dustin? Glad to be here, man. Looking back at the season, year one, get to a bowl game, and look, I'm excited. I know things didn't go the way we planned the last couple weeks of the season, but I'm feeling this recruiting. I'm feeling us not giving up on guys, us flipping Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson putting in work on the trail, and going and getting these guys out of Florida and not giving up on an LJ McCray. And I mean, man, there's a lot of positivity around this program right now. And I just kind of like pushed the win and loss record aside, and the loss to New Mexico State, I kind of pushed that aside right now. And I'm looking bigger picture towards the future of Auburn football. And, that's what I kind of wanted to tell our fans and the Auburn fan base is, yeah, we did get beat by 3 scores by New Mexico State. It happened, and it sucked. All right. And we did give up a 4th and 31 to Alabama, and they did beat Georgia and get into the playoffs. That made it sting a little bit more, right? But, you're sitting right here at the top 10 in the 2024 recruiting rankings, man. And if you get a couple more of these guys, you could get into the top 6 of the recruiting class, man. And when you start really breaking that down, Dustin, and who makes the playoffs year in and year out, it's the guys that within the top 8 recruiting classes, man. And you see this thing expanding to 12 teams next year, and you really start to like Auburn's chances, brother. And I just got to be excited, and I posted on Twitter. I said, man, I always wanted a coach that's got 2 phones. And, part of that was because I'm tired of hearing the jokes about our head coach and everything about him and his days at Ole Miss and what he did there. But it just kind of reminds me of, that Kevin Gates mentality, man, that work hard, that grind, that work ethic, and I feel like we got that, Dustin. So I'm excited, man. I'm ready tonight to look at this year in review and just go over all the coaching positions and what coaches did their jobs and what players stepped up to the plate to help the Auburn Tigers. I think this is going to be a fun live episode.
Yeah, for sure, man. We want y'all to hop in and give us y'all's opinions as well. Let's get over here and look at the comments, man. Say hello to everybody. Our guy Ray Snow says, War Eagle Uptempo family. Love y'all's content. I live not too far from you guys in Crestview, Florida. Yeah. Hey, love that, man. Growing community out there in Crestview, home of the Bulldogs. Appreciate you for joining us, Ray. Let's see. Pop back up here. Justin Thomas. Good afternoon, Justin. Justin says, KJ Bolden on Flip Watch. You damn right he is, baby. Yes, he is, man. Stay tuned for that one. We're going to have more plenty of recruiting stuff coming out here in the next couple of days. Our guy James popping up tempo. What's up, fellas? What's up, James? Good evening to you, buddy. Teresa, it's good to see you as well.
Yeah.
Everybody popping in. Chris, good evening, man. Nice to see
Chris.
you. Yeah, man. Our usual is everybody. We appreciate you guys. We love y'all. You already know that. So we're going to hop over here, and we're going to get it started, Blake, passing out some awards, all right? I wanted to get started with the young cats, Blake, freshman of the year. Okay. So I put this on Twitter about a week ago. I put this one out. It received 143 votes. And of the 143 votes, the people, Connor Liu was actually the winner at 45%. Keldrick Faulk close at 43%. I think Kay and Lee and Jeremiah Cobb split the remaining 12%, with 6% each there. So, Blake, the people voting Connor Lew, and we would love for you guys to get, if you didn't put in that Twitter vote, get in the comments now and give us your vote for Freshman of the Year. Blake, who are you voting for here, and tell us why?
Hey, good for the Auburn fans, man. Good for the Auburn fans. Connor Lew. I even text you, Dustin, when you sent it to me and asked me. I was like, man, I feel like Keldrick's gonna win it, right? But I kind of feel like Connor would, if he would have had a whole year's work that he would have been able to put together. But good for Connor Lew. Good for the Auburn fans, man. I'm going Connor Lew here. Him stepping in, and from what he did from down the stretch for Auburn. Auburn was dealing with bad snaps. All right.
Yeah.
And I hate it for Avery Jones, and him going down and getting hurt and everything. And but Connor Lew is the future, man. Avery was getting beat. Connor Lew comes in, remind you, 17 years old, man. Like, he was playing high school ball last year, and this guy isn't afraid of the moment. Went into hostile environments, got his feet wet as a true freshman. Delivered at the center position. He's that guy, Dustin. And I love what Keldrick did on the other side of the ball. Right, good for him, not taking anything away from him. But I talk about the excitement for the Auburn fan base, and when you look at a guy like Connor Lew on the offensive line, a place where Auburn has struggled, and I just think him being able to anchor that position down for years to come is a bright spot for this roster, for this coaching staff. Dude, the guy's going to play on Sundays. He's going to play on Sundays, and when that happens, I think in the future we're going to be able to use him and say, "Hey, look, why not come play offensive line at Auburn?" This kid, he played as a freshman, and now he's in the league. I think it's a bright spot, man. And, I know we're going to have to hit the portal hard for offensive linemen, but why not play next to Connor Lew, man? Why not? Why not transfer to Auburn and play next to the kid? He's a bright spot, and it's only going to get brighter, Dustin.
He's a beast, man. Like, I knew, how high I was on him coming in, but I knew how strong he was, and I was even taken back about how strong he was this quick. I mean, just already moving like junior, senior SEC defensive tackles. The young man had a day at Arkansas, and I know that we had a day at Arkansas, period. But look, I love Connor Lew. Like you said, for the next 2 years at least, you have that spot locked up, right? And if situations happen, this is a good thing about a guy like Connor Lew, where let's say that you have some injuries down the line and maybe you have a guy that's more comfortable playing. Maybe the guy that you have, we'll see how the roster shakes out, but maybe you have a guy that can play some center, but it's not comfortable in other positions. You can slide Lew out. There's a ton of things that you can do with him. Because he was playing guard at the beginning of the season, getting in there, getting some reps at guard. That's how good he is. He was pushing for reps. Even at center, being a center, he was pushing for reps at guard. They're like, we just got to find a way to get this kid in the rotation. So, yeah, super exciting, man. But my vote here, and I feel it being 45 to 43. It's tight. I'm going Keldrick based off of just the snaps they had to take. I love Connor, and it makes me feel good, actually, that kind of the way it happened for Connor. Like, okay, we know you can step in at a moment's notice and be ready to go. He stepped in that Ole Miss game, and there was no drop off. It actually improved. And then from that week on, it really improved. So really, really love what Connor did. But I'm going to give a slight edge to Keldrick because he had to go from week 1. And as the season went on, I felt like Keldrick got better. And I feel like by about week 7 to week 8, I mean, I know that Rocket Sanders was hurt, but him chasing down Rocket Sanders behind that line of scrimmage and tackling him there on the outside, man, that just kind of showed you what he is. Keldrick put on some weight, so they've kind of had to move him inside. He came in. They were thinking about edge rusher. Then you move him to the end, and he's still playing some at the end. He's even kind of moved some inside. So, again, a versatile guy on the defensive line that you can do a tons of things with. A freshman that had to play a lot of reps. I've already given the example a couple of times of him getting hurt in the Iron Bowl and getting a grand total of 1 playoff where he had to get back out there. Just we had to call his number a whole lot this year. He had to play a lot more reps than we probably wanted to, than the staff probably wanted him to play. And I just thought that Keldrick showed up, tons of potential, tons of flash. I'm super excited for his next 2 years at Auburn because I do think that he's got 2 years and he'll be off of the league because pass rushers are at a premium in the NFL. You will get paid if you got that skill set, and I think he's going to take a big jump next year. But he showed us that he was that guy this year. So I'm gonna give a slight edge to Keldrick, and then our other 2 guys, Blake. I don't want to not give him a shout out. Kay and Lee. You said it a couple episodes ago, Blake, that guarding a wide receiver in today's age in football is one of the hardest things to do in sports. I mean, it's up there, right? It's up there with hitting a baseball. It's tough. And so Kay and Lee to come in as a true freshman and hold it down, guarding top-notch athletes in the SEC, super impressive. And then Jeremiah Cobb, we only got to see the flashes, but the boy looks nasty with the ball in his hands, Blake.
Yeah, he does. He's so good. He's going to be so good, man. I felt like we should have utilized him a little bit more. In the screen game, especially. But, I know Hugh's got big plans for him. And, him and Damari, I think that's going to be a two-headed monster. And as far as Kayan, man, like elite talent. He's going to be another DB that is going to play on Sundays from Auburn University. The kid is going to be special. And like anytime you're a true freshman and you step in the SEC, and you're out there on an island at DB, man, you're special. So yeah, dude, Kay and Lee, he's a dog, and he'll be back next year for us. So
yeah. Before we get to this next one, I want to get some of your guys' comments. Justin says, "Was Burton considered a freshman?" I'm assuming you're talking about Caleb Burton. This is your guy, Blake, redshirt freshman, right? Redshirt?
Yeah. He was at Ohio State for a year, couldn't get on the field, redshirted and hit the portal.
Yeah. And Justin pops in and says, "Connor Lou is that dude." James echoes that sentiment, saying, "Connor Lou is that dude." Bug asking, "Wasn't Lou the first freshman at center since Reese Dismukes?" That sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds right. All right, hitting over here to the next one, Blake. This one's, off top, this one seems like it was kind of easy. But the more I thought about it, I was like, maybe not so much. I didn't put this one out, so I want to get you guys' comments on here. Special teams MVP. And look, it seems like, and McPherson's been getting snubbed. He got snubbed again today with the All-SEC list, in my opinion. But that guy, Oscar Chapman, got called upon a lot, and I think he did his job a whole lot. And it's a field goal kicking sexier than punting for whatever that's worth. So I feel like it's easy to just look at McPherson being perfect. So I'm going McPherson here because being perfect, your first full year as a starting kicker in the SEC, that's extremely tough. But, man, this is close in my opinion, Blake, because Oscar Chapman did his damn job.
Dude, what a weapon he was, right? Dude was how many times did we go into a preview episode and say, this Oscar Chapman guy, he could save us in this game,
And he did. With our defense, we knew the game plan, and he did.
Yeah, and but man, McPherson, like, incredible, dude. Like, incredible. Was it the A&M game? It was a game early in the season. I think it was the A&M game where he come in and it was like from 50 and he just hammered it home. I can't remember which game it was. I think A&M.
Sounds right. Well, he did it a couple times. So.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, he's special. And it kind of pisses me off that he gets snubbed the way he does, because I've just come to the realization that these awards and everything, it's just a popularity contest, man. There's no way he was beating out Will Reichard. He's been there longer. He plays at the University of Alabama, and no matter what Baby McPherson did, he wasn't beating him out, period. Reichard could have missed 2 field goals Saturday. He missed one in Jordan Hare. He could have missed a couple more, and it still wouldn't have mattered. So, it's just a popularity contest. But as far as this team, I also want to throw Keontae Scott in there too.
Yeah, we do have Justin Thomas put his vote in for Keontae Scott, and I do think that's worth mentioning.
Yeah, because if Keontae's back there in that Iron Bowl, Alabama's not in the college football playoff, and Florida State's all happy. So, yeah, I had a sore subject. But, yeah, man, Keontae, it just showed how big of a piece and how valuable, we talk MVP, how valuable he truly was at that punt return position. So Keontae could get a lot of votes, man, but McPherson and just having him for a couple more years, I think that's big time. And you know, look, the dude knows how to do it. The reason why I didn't really worry about him, Dustin, coming into the year is because of the success that his brother's having right now in the NFL. And we have two brothers that in the NFL. Old Anders, 48
Yeah,
yarder the other night. All right,
yeah,
good for him, man. But you usually a guy like that, man, he looks up to his older brother, and he usually follows the same work ethic. So I wasn't worried about him one bit, and I'm glad he had a hell of a year.
yeah, for sure. So, Keontae, I agree with y'all on Keontae. Definitely worth mentioning. And I was surprised that Batie never took one back because, especially there, the first 6, 7 games of the year, he was really busting them. But it always seems like we always had a penalty. So,
Hmm.
but I thought we had a good year overall on special teams. I thought it was a strength of the team, and we needed it. Right, you're 6-6, you barely make a bowl game, so you definitely needed the special teams. But they knew the assignment of some of these games, and they played well paired with the defense. And then everybody getting in. Ant says McPherson. James says McPherson. Bug Mac says McPherson. Connie, how you doing, Connie? Connie says Alex, but you're right about Oscar Dustin. All right, yeah. So now Blake, here's one. This one's going to be. I'm interested to see what you got on this one here. Offensive MVP. MVP of the offense. I'm gonna go ahead and get mine out of the way first here. This is the one where I'm going with. I'm gonna go with Connor Lew. I'm going to go with Connor Lew. I just think that the offense looked a whole lot better. Looked a whole lot better under when he was under center. And it's a tough year for us on offense. I think that the obvious answer here could be either Jarquez, Rivaldo getting second team, all SEC. But yeah, I like to look up front. I think that has been a huge issue for us in these last couple of years. And I think that the way we ran the ball, especially in that 3-game winning streak. I think that was a direct correlation between Connor Lew being at center. Shout out to Gunnar Britton. He got a lot better as the season went on as well, kind of found his groove. But yeah, man, for all the reasons that y'all talked about, that you gave Connor Lew freshman of the year, I'm going to give him the offensive MVP because only playing half the season, because I just think that he made that much of an impact. I really do.
Mm, I like it. That's spicy. I like that. Um, a lot of people might be thinking I'm taking the easy road here, but I'm going to take Jarquez, man. And the reason I'm going to take Jarquez is because of everything he went through at the beginning of the year. And then he comes back, and, people are saying that he's lost a step. He doesn't look game ready. And then, man, he really turned it on in the back half of the season. And I don't know if we have the success that we do without Jarquez Hunter. And he just had his days, man, where you get 27 the football, and I felt like that was kind of our downfall in the New Mexico State game. Is Jarquez only touched the football 8 times,
Mm.
and I don't know how that happens. Like I try to go back and look at some of that game and just say, why didn't Jarquez get the football there? But the Vanderbilt game, it just kind of started there for real. Like he just hit another level, man. And part of that is because of what you mentioned, Connor Lew, right? And that offensive line. And I know the offensive line had their woes this year at times, but as an Auburn fan, you got to be excited about the progression that this staff made in the trenches at offensive line. I know it wasn't great all year, but man, it wasn't nowhere near as bad as what we've seen. All right. And I think if Jarquez comes back, Dustin, things could get weird, man. Things could get weird for this Auburn offense. And if you have your MVP come back and just the running back room and the way it is, I wonder if that's why Fat decommitted and he's looking at
Yeah.
Missouri now. Did they tell him like, hey man, Quez is thinking about coming back? we're not going to take a running back this year. We're going to focus on Alvin Henderson in the 25 class. So I'll go with Jarquez, man. I think he means the world to Auburn. He loves Auburn, and he's just a special player when the ball's in his hands.
Yeah, he got hot and we started winning.
Yeah.
This says enough right there. Ant says Quez or Batiste. I like that. And then Scott Chapman pops in and says he didn't get it as much because we only had 28 minutes of offensive play time. Talking about the New Mexico State game. Yeah, New Mexico State just
it was a bad day.
They controlled the clock the entire time. That's a big part of that game for sure. All right, getting over here to assistant coach of the year. This one's probably the most interesting one to me. I really enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed looking at everybody's responses in the poll. So I put the poll out. Blake got 221 votes, 32% for Zach Etheridge, 27% for Coach Caddy, 25% for Josh Aldridge, and 16% for Jake Thornton. And I didn't put Jeremy Garrett on there, but I do think that Jeremy Garrett did a good job with what he was given. But I just kind of put on what I thought were the 4 best units on the team this year. So 32% for Zach, 27% for Caddy, 25% for Josh Aldridge, and 16% for Jake Thornton. Who gets your vote, Blake? And everybody give us your thoughts in the comments for the assistant coach of the year.
How is it not Josh Aldridge? How is it not? I know we love Zach. I know we love Caddy. 2 of my favorites, all right? Living legends with the AU on the side of the helmet. But how is it not Josh Aldridge? My man took Eugene Asante and made him a guy, all right? Made him into an NFL prospect. Eugene, an absolute dog. He ate in that system. Look, say what you want to about Cam Riley. There was a couple balls that he should have picked off that we might have won a couple games with, all right? But my buddy, he improved, all right? My dad's calling, probably wanting to talk about Auburn football. But he improved.
Live, Pops.
Yeah, Cam Riley off the edge, man. He got the best out of Cam Riley, Yeah. Austin Keys. Go back and watch the first game against UMass with Austin Keys. Tell me you didn't see the progress being made, Dustin. Show me he brought the best out of these linebackers. And this is one of the most just thin groups, one of the most criticized groups that we had in the preseason coming into this year. We basically just kind of chalked it at linebacker, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much just said, hey, look, we're not going to be good at linebacker. Like, it's just not there. It's not there. There's nothing that we see there. And then all of a sudden you start hearing guys like Eugene, and you hear Hugh's like, man, we can't keep this dude off the field. Like, how is he not on the field last year? All right. You start hearing about Austin Keys. You start hearing Larry Nixon and his senior leadership. And it's just, I don't know how, we as a fan base can't give this award. I mean, is it really? It's the up-tempo award, but right. It's got to be Coach Aldridge, man. And you see him now. The portal's open, people, and he's on the trail. All right, he's got OVs coming to campus. All right?
His recruiting haul in this class is unreal.
He's coming. All right, he's got them coming through the portal. The recruiting, like Dustin just said, he's out of his mind right now. The guy can coach. The guy can recruit. The guy can go get it done in the portal. Hell of a job to him. Look, not taking anything away from Zach. We know that it just come out the other day that he's interviewing for a job. He didn't get that job. But we know that he's going to be a coach somewhere. All right. And we know what he's done with the Auburn secondary. And the way he recruits and the way he attacks the portal, and if next year's our last year without him, or this year was our last year with him, I think it's a pleasure for him and his family if he does get a job somewhere at a G5 school, man. I mean, good for him. I'm proud of him, and he deserves it. And so this whole coaching staff, man. I was pleased with the entire staff for real. Um, I mean, there was just spots like you mentioned, D line, like Coach Garrett, he didn't have a lot to work with. Like the depth wasn't there, man. And I feel like Marcus Harris got even better. And then I look on the internet today, and he gets freaking snubbed on the SEC first and second team.
So
Get the
bad.
hell
That
out
was
of here, man.
worse.
Yeah, get out of here, dude. Like I said, popularity contest.
Mm.
End of story. But yeah, man, kudos to these Auburn coaches. Hell of a job this year.
Yeah, Marcus got snubbed so bad. Yeah, I think a lot of this, looking at the fan vote, Blake, is just love for Zach and love for Caddy, right? And look, they did a great job this year, but just going into the season, I think that their rooms started off better than a lot of the other. I mean, those were the two rooms we were looking at the most, saying, "Hey, these are the rooms that we're stacked at. We're stacked at running back. We're stacked in the secondary. We had veterans that we could count on there." Josh just had nothing to work with, man. I mean, we were looking at linebacker room as it being the biggest concern, really, or one of coming into the season. And a guy like we saw a lot of portal guys, especially guys that come from Group of Five, not worked out. I think that Josh Oliver's got the very best out of Larry Nixon, and there were a couple games there in the middle of the season where Larry Nixon and Eugene Asante were the only linebackers we had that were worthy of getting reps, and they had to stay on the field the entire time. And so I just think that the job that Josh did with what he had to work with, and looking at the guys, their improvement, like they got better as the season went on. I mean, Eugene's the obvious example here. A guy that didn't even play last year comes out and is one of the best players on the team. So yeah, for me, it's Josh Aldridge. I just want to shout out Jimmy Garrett. I think he did a good job with what he had to work with. I think that really the majority. I mean, Jake Thornton. Jake, look, we're not going to get on the big recruiting thing tonight, but everyone knows how we our lack of recruiting in the offensive line. Look at the guys that we plugged in from the portal. They're Group of Five guys. I think that the offensive line, as the season went on, got better. You had to play a true freshman at center. You had to plug in Group of Five guys. So I think that Jake did a good job in getting the most out of the unit. And I thought that his guys got better as the season went on. So I think that a lot of, when you look at our staff as a whole, I think that a lot of guys did better. It's hard to judge a guy like Marcus Davis because he just didn't have anything right. But yeah, for me, I'm going to give this one to Josh Aldridge. I think that just sticking to on the field, he's done a hell of a job recruiting, but on the field, Josh has did a great job this year and got the most out of a very thin room. Let's get you guys' comments. Bug Max says Josh Aldridge all the way, most improved unit by a mile. I agree with you. Our boy Chris Causey saying Aldridge. Brad Browning saying, don't forget the spring game, the defense looked horrid, particularly that room. They came a long way. It's a very good point, brother. Scott Chapman says they look night and day after Mississippi State. They came alive. It kind of seemed like the whole team came alive that week. I think Coach Freeze got in some people's face that week at practice and said it's time for some things to change. Our last one, Blake, our MVP of the season. So I put this one up, and where do I have it? Okay, 213 votes. Eugene ran away with this one. Eugene got 37%. Jalen got 29%. Marcus got 24%. So, and then Quez got 9%. I feel like I had to throw in somebody on offense there, but obviously the MVP this year was coming from the defensive side. So MVP of the 23 season, the fan vote goes 37%. Eugene, Jalen in at 29. Blake, your thoughts? Do you disagree with the fans?
No, I feel like you could have thrown Marcus Harris in there as well.
Yeah, he finished third with 24%.
Yeah. I feel like you could have those three dudes. I'm partial to Simp. You know how I feel about Simp. That's my guy. Playing in the bowl game, by the way. Proud of the dudes for hanging around, right?
For sure.
That's big, man. Like that's big on me. I know I'm a little off topic here, but that's big on me. Them sticking around and playing in the bowl game, like that matters, you know. I think young guys can look at that and learn from that, you know, grow on that, because I feel like we're in the day and age of everything's about money, and it's, oh, I'm off to the NFL or I'm off to the Senior Bowl because I want to go get my bag, and you know, I don't want to get hurt, and, you know, whatever. And these dudes, they're playing, man. Like Bo Nix playing, Caleb Williams not playing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I feel some type of way about it. I feel like you owe it to your boys, man. Football's a brotherhood, dog. Like when you get into the locker room, that like them are your brothers. Like there's blood, sweat, and tears that are shed, and I feel like you owe it to them to play that final game. And but look, MVP on defense, or MVP of the 2023 season. In my opinion, it's Eugene Asante. Um, I feel like the Auburn fans got this one right, and the reason I say this is because it started at Cal. It started at Cal. We lose that game without Eugene. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
the performance he had that night was absolutely filthy. Um, I feel like he never stopped throughout the season. I feel like he continuously brought it, even in nights where, like in Baton Rouge, where we couldn't compete that night. We just didn't have the depth. We didn't have the guys. Even though he couldn't keep up with Jaden Daniels, he still brought it, bro.
Right.
You know, and I feel like he was the guy that brought it week in and week out. Simp, he's right there, man. Like the move from corner to safety. He struggled in man at corner, and he went to safety, and that allowed him to roam around the field a little bit and make plays a little bit more freely. And I feel like he found a true home on the football field, and he was a playmaker for Auburn. Like that Georgia game sticks out to me. I know Ike messaged us the other day and was like, "Hey, is there some plays that stick out to you on the season?" And I was like, "Man, Simp's pick against Georgia was one
Hmm.
of the most athletic plays I've seen in a minute. Like it's incredible. Like it should be on every highlight tape Auburn had this year." Um, and not only just let's go off the field for Simp, man. Like the things he does in the community and for the people of Auburn is, I mean, he's just true Auburn. Like he's an Auburn man. And that's why I preach so much about Simp and looking back in 10 years and remembering who 36 was as a man, not just a football player, but as a man. Um, I feel like he's something that I would want my kid to grow up and be like. Like that's how I would want Levi to be. That's how I would want Levi to carry himself. And then I look at Marcus Harris, man, a group that, hey, they're thin. They're not very good. They're not going to be able to stop the run. They're not going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. And I feel like Marcus Harris answered the bell every single week, man. Got a nose for the football. He makes plays over and over and over. Um, a team leader. Me and you know that we heard some things throughout
Mhm.
the season where,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, there was some
He cares.
things,
He cares.
and he said, "Hey, this is how it's gonna be. Okay, I don't work my ass off to go out like that." And so I feel like it could have been him, but man, Eugene gets my vote. Um, what a special player! What a special player! And I tell you this: everything that Eugene Asante has been through. His dad passed away last year. For those of who don't know, and he he asked to get put on the scout team because he was going through life and the struggles, and life sucks sometimes, man. It's not always fair. Um, but for him to persevere and bounce back this year and be a team leader and just make play after play week in and week out for the Auburn Tigers and Josh Aldridge and that defense, man. Um, I can't say any more about him. He's just A+, dude.
Yeah. So Eugene gets my vote as well. Great stuff there, Blake. Yeah, Marcus and Simp, two guys that are going to be building blocks. They're going to be pillars for when we look back at this and say, hey, when that culture change happened, I promise you, Those two guys right there, Simp and Marcus, they really care. But I'm gonna go with Eugene here. Eugene had 84 tackles, 52 solo, 8.5 tackles for loss with 5 sacks, and then he had the fumble recovery for a touchdown versus A&M. Eugene just balled, and like you said about Marcus answering the bell, which he did, and Simp did as well. Eugene did every time. And there was a couple times where he kind of got banged up, and he was right back out there. He knew that we had to have him on defense. His defense would have fell apart without Eugene. To bring the energy every single week, there are times when that locker room, it could have went south, looking at that 4-game losing streak, and a guy like Eugene bringing that energy, that less work, continue to bring that mentality every single week. I think that was just a big part of this team ultimately finding a little success there, winning those 3 games, getting out of that 4-game slump, and this defense being the best unit on this team, being kind of led by Eugene, the example that he set. And then, like you said, dude, going from scout team last year, losing your dad. I mean, everybody out there know how much your dad means to you. I can't imagine what that would be like to stay focused and have to play college football. Big bounce back year for him. I'm glad that he was able to see some success. And I think the next year he's going to be, a leader on this team, somebody that we're really going to count on. And so really, really excited for that young man and excited for his future, and that he was able to put some film out there and show what he was about. And it really kind of makes you look at this last year's situation and just be like, boy, I don't know. I don't know what y'all were doing, especially when you look at how our linebackers played 2022. It's like, y'all couldn't have found a spot for this guy, man. But hey, look, maybe it was his personal issues. I wasn't around the program. I don't know. But before we get in here, man, we're going to grade the OC, the DC, and give a grade on Coach Hugh Freeze this season. And I want to stress that these are on the field. This is not recruiting, because then you just kind of gets colluded, right? Because Hugh Freeze is doing an A+ job in recruiting. So there's really there's no reason to even debate that. He's killing the game. So our grades on these guys coming up will be on the field. Before we get there, Blake, talk to the people about the memberships, which we are getting back healthy and we were ready to crank back out our membership content, man. Let me get this banner off the screen and pull this one up for you guys. Bang, bang.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a member, you can get that JV squad for $3.99 a month, as you can see right there. For the ones on audio only, members only live chat, member shout outs, priority reply to comments. Look, we will get to those comments. The super chats, we'll get to those as well. We appreciate anybody and everybody who sends the super chats. Early access to videos, I have just now discovered that there is a new option on YouTube uploading the video for early access. So they kind of changed it up a little bit on me, and we will get that going for all the members there, so you can watch the videos a little bit earlier than the public. So if you're interested in the $5.99 a month package Varsity Squad, this is the recruiting update videos. Dustin really goes in on these videos, y'all. He does a great job. I'm in there sometimes, but Dustin is hammering the recruiting content. So he follows 24/7, 365. He does a great job. We have a game day group chat, y'all. Look, it's growing every day. It is growing every day. We're up. What do we got in there, Dustin? Almost
about a dozen. Yeah.
About 12, 15 people, something like that. And we have fun, man. Even on game days, like non-game days, we still chat. So it's a great time, and we got some watch the film coming out. Auburn baseball. We're going to try to do some basketball and stuff. I feel like we're just scratching the surface there, and the gameplay with you, man. When NCAA football comes out, that is going to be the freaking move, dude. Like, I'm telling you, we're going to have so much fun with that. If you play Xbox, I'm an Xbox guy. Dustin's an Xbox guy, so. Just send us over your gamer tags, and we'll get in there and we can grind the sticks, man. I know that NCAA game coming out in the summer, that's gonna be a blast, dude. Can't wait.
Yeah, it'll consume the majority of my time. That is for sure, bro. Yeah, recruiting video coming back out for you guys tomorrow. I will do an updated one, and that one's going to be put out for the JV and the varsity. Since it has been a couple of weeks since we've been able to do one for any of you guys, you guys know, man, a lot of medical stuff going on behind the scenes here, but feeling better, man. Get ready to get back on that horse and pump that stuff out for you guys. So be on the lookout for that sometime tomorrow in your feed. And we appreciate all you guys, man, because y'all keep the lights on here. And we love y'all for that. Now, Blake, let's go over here. This one will be fun, man. OCDC. This is on the field. This is not recruiting. And I want letter grade. We'll start with Philip Montgomery. Letter grade.
Z. Like F. I'm not a fan. I'm not trying to be cruel or anything, but I don't even consider it in the alphabet. So I wasn't a fan, man, and I felt like the only time the offense started clicking was when Hugh took control of it, and I feel like we could all tell that in press conferences, and I'm just not. I'm not on the Philip Montgomery play calling train. I might be on the quarterback, him as a quarterback coach and a quarterback guru, and I might be on that train. But as far as a play caller, I don't know if I'm there. Ron Roberts, I give him a B. All right, just because of what he had to work with, being very very thin up front, not having elite edge rushers. Having to work with Keldrick Falk, a freshman, having to play man early. Your linebacking core, like we talked to, was so thin. Your secondary was really the meat and potatoes, the back end, and I felt like the secondary did their job, but it's hard on the secondary sometimes when you can't get no pass rush, and people are, oh, DJ James did this. How is Evan Stewart getting so open and everything? I'm like, well, he's getting so open because DJ's having to cover him for 8 seconds. Like, but as far as like the blitzing and bringing guys, the safety blitz and the nickel blitz and all of that, I feel like Ron did a great job, except the last play in the Iron Bowl. Watched the NFL game the other night. Packers, Chiefs. Chiefs were what? They were from the 30, 35. And Packers brought 4. And they said, hey, there's no way we're letting Mahomes stand back here.
Yeah, you can't.
And letting him get rid of this football. That was it. That was my only thing with Ron, man, was that one play. Other than that, I thought he did a damn good job, especially with what he had to work with, Dustin. And Philip, I'll let you hammer that one home.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with Ron Roberts there. I'm gonna give Ron a B+. I'm really the the negatives on his resume is the New Mexico State game. You just got shoved around by a team I felt like you shouldn't have got shoved around. You're on like a third and goal from like the 17, and you blitz the house and you get beat. Just silly. So that was disappointing. And obviously the last play of the Iron Bowl, somebody's got to own that. I mean, you had 4th and goal from the 31, dude. Yeah, it is what it is. So, but other than that, I'm really excited for Ron. I'm really excited for the future of Ron Roberts. I cannot wait to see him get guys like DeMarcus Reddick, like guys like Caleb Harris in there to run his system, guys like Jamonte Waller, Joe Phillips. Man, I really can't wait to see what he does with those pieces. Because just super thin, man. Like we talked about at linebacker, you were super thin. That's gotta impact a guy that wants to do some exotic things like Ron. Not having the guys that he wants at linebacker and not having a bunch of them. You saw in the way he used Cam Riley, kind of when watching what he did with Cam Riley made me just drool at what he's going to do with a guy like DeMarcus Reddick. Watching the way that they use Eugene Asante, boy, DJ Barber is going to fit into that perfect. So the guys that we've got going into what I saw Ron Roberts do with the pieces this year, I'm really fired up. So yeah, I'm going to give Ron Roberts a B+ because the reason we're going to a bowl game is this defense. This every time, Blake, we did a Friday preview show, we were counting on the defense showing up, and 9-10 times they did, which in today's college football, pretty damn good. That's all you can really ask for, right? So yeah, super thin defense with not a lot of pieces to work with. Ron Roberts' first year in the SEC. All that being considered, man, I'm going to give him a B+. I think that he did. I think that he did a great job. When it comes to Philip Montgomery, I'm just going to give it an F-. Uh,
Yeah.
I got sorry, bro. It looked so bad. Whatever that was, the first 6-7 weeks prior to Ole Miss. After Ole Miss is when it all changed going into Mississippi State. When Hugh Freeze walked into the office and said, "Hey, these things are changing." So I have to kind of look at it and say, if Hugh Freeze would have let this go for an entire season, how would it have looked? It would have looked pretty bad if we would have let Philip continue to do whatever he was doing. So yeah, I'm gonna go F minus, and then I had and it just kind of speaks for itself. And then I had some comments that I kind of wanted to go roll into my next point here. What about Montgomery? I got some up here. People were asking Blake, kind of what was the well, I guess I didn't star him, but people were asking in the comments, what's the future at OC? And I know somebody has said that they were kind of disappointed. They thought that Hugh could have let go of Phillip this week and then maybe gone and got a guy like Matt Luke, who is now going to Clemson. Here we go. Jonathan Hubbard pops in here and says, who would you want as OC? I'll start here real quick, Blake, and I'll shoot it to you. I want a no name. And this is no disrespect to our guy Caddy, but it could be Caddy. I'm not calling Caddy a no name. But I just want a guy. I want a guy who I know Hugh Freeze is running the offense. I want that kind of situation, right? Where like who is the offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams? Doesn't really matter, right? Because Sean McVay's calling the plays. Like that's what I want our situation to be. I have been made, no apologies for this. I think that Hugh Freeze is a top 5 to top 10 offensive mind, top 5 to top 10 play caller in the country. I think it's a strength of his. And I think it's the second best thing he brings to the table as a coach. Number 1 is obviously recruiting. But number 2, I think that Hugh can dial it up. And I think that when he's in his bag calling plays, man, he's in his bag. So I want Hugh running the offense. I think that when we went to the up-tempo RPO at Mississippi State, the offense looked significantly better for the remainder of the season, minus whatever the hell happened versus New Mexico State. But we all know what happened. The whole team's come out and said we were overlooking New Mexico State. We were looking to Bama. All the players have said that. Hugh talked about how bad the practices were that week, so we know what happened there. But for the remainder of the season, since we ran Hugh Freeze's offense, it looked night and day. So who do I want as OC? I kind of wanted it to be Caddy, to be real with you. But or bring in somebody, right, that has a specialty. Bring in a guy that is really good at developing quarterbacks. Or bring in, and I'm just throwing a name out here, but bring in a guy like DC, a guy that's just a hell of a recruiter and can organize the offense and do that kind of thing. But as far as calling the plays and what we're running, I don't care. I want the OC to really be Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I'm with you. I want Hugh calling the plays. Like you said, that's what he's best at. I feel like that's what he thrives in, and at times you could tell that he just wasn't calling the plays, and it was a Philip Montgomery offense. And I think when we all noticed that Hugh Freeze did not have his hands in the offense was the Texas A&M game, the first drive especially. Go back and watch that one if you forget that. It was bad. It was bad. And I think that's where I finally was like, hey man, something's got to change. Like, this is a game where our defense literally kept us in it until the last 2 minutes of the game. We just couldn't score. We couldn't. When we did get the ball past the 50, we gave it right back. And it was just unfortunate that we let Ole Miss off the hook because of our offense. We let Georgia off the hook. If you want to go back and look at the 4th and 1, we had 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, couldn't pick it up. We let Georgia off the hook. Like I said, A&M, we almost lost a cow until Hugh took the last drive and said, hey, we got to go right here. Like, this is it. It was almost a disaster of a season if you really kind of break it down. It was almost but it was fun, Dustin, and I think Hugh's going to take this offense over, man. And does he fire Phillip? I don't know, because I hear Phillip's good on the recruiting trail. I hear Phillip's a great QB coach. I hear that he gets along with people, and I actually had somebody from a school here in Mobile tell me that high school kids love him, like they love him. So I don't know if Hugh gets rid of him. Everybody's like, nah, just is Philip going to be here next year? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I don't know. It's still kind of early, man. Like I don't know yet. Let's see after the bowl game. See after the
Yeah.
bowl game.
Yeah, I think that right now, I'm not sure if you're going to see any shakeup before December 20th. I
Yeah.
think that it's going to be a lot of focus will be on finishing that recruiting class. On that, that might change. I don't have any insight on that specifically, but that's just kind of my feel there. Blake, this is the one I'm interested in your opinion here. Now, I want to reiterate, this is not recruiting. This is not a referendum on the future. None of that kind of stuff. This is just from week 1 to week 12 in the games, and we can do how things were handled throughout the week or whatever. But just this regular season, letter grade for Hugh Freeze.
Mm. I'll give him a B. And the reason I'm gonna give him a B is because I know, like we just talked about, a lot of people were on him about the offense, and I feel like Hugh didn't have his hands in the offense this year because he was worried about other things off the field with recruiting, and I felt like there was some times where he could have got in the offense a little bit, um, but I can't be too difficult on him because I really feel like his main goal this year was it's not going to be the prettiest, it's going to be ugly, but I'm just not worried about this year. And I feel like that's the mentality he took into it was I want to win games. But when I hear him sit at a table and he say, "Hey, look, I wish I could snap my fingers and win 10 games for you, but unfortunately, that ain't how it works." And so sometimes I think, and it might sound, you know, uh, a little immature or whatever, but sometimes I think he was worried more off the field what was happening outside of the stadium than he was inside the white lines. And that's the reason I think the offense looked, uh, you know, somewhat buns this year. So, but every other thing, man, the way he rallied around the kids and, his trust in Ron Roberts and, uh, you know, uh, I get the switching of the quarterbacks and everything, and I know that was a struggle, but we really seen when Hugh took over, it was Peyton. And there was a time in the Iron Bowl where I was like, "Hey, what are we doing? Like, don't go back to this." But for the most part, it was Peyton. That was another sign to me that Hugh had cut it off.
Yeah.
So I could see C plus C. I could see that. I'm gonna go with a B here.
Okay. I'm gonna go C minus, and I'm gonna go C minus because when we talk about we'll start with the QB rotation. Start with the QB rotation. Yeah, I'm pleased with the way it looked after it stopped. My question would be, why did it take until Mississippi State? Like it was clearly done so. It clearly cost you in the Georgia game, and then you circled back to it in the Iron Bowl and tried to go back to the QB rotation again. That ultimately cost you a timeout.
Hmm.
So you still kind of brought it up at the worst time. So yeah, the QB rotation thing baffled me, especially for as long as it went on. And then when you're 29-point favorites to a group of 5 team at home and you get beat 31-10, you have to own that as the head coach. If
Hmm.
the team's overlooking the opponent or whatever, you're responsible for that. If that would have happened to Harsin, we would have absolutely just clapped him all week. So I got to be fair there. Now I know this is not on that point. I know we're trying to stay away from recruiting on this, but you have equity built in the bank when you're Hugh, when you're recruiting the way you are versus what Harsin was doing. So I do understand that part of it, but I'm just trying to be fair. And then the Iron Bowl, yeah, you had 4th and goal from the 31. So, like, that's a win versus your arch rival that you should have had. Now, the flip side of that is, did good coaching, specifically the way you drew up the running game versus a Alabama defense that hadn't been ran on at that point, did good coaching by Hugh even get you to that point? You could argue that as well. But there were just some things, Blake. Penalties kind of seem to be an issue all year at bad times. Especially the pre-snap penalties drove me nuts. The switching out rotations of quarterbacks for as long as you did it, and then it kind of manifesting itself again in the Iron Bowl drove me nuts. The time you did it versus Georgia on the 3rd and 1 when you're moving the ball, it absolutely just kills you. So yeah, there were some things that really that you're just not a big fan of. My hope is that Hugh saw post the Ole Miss game what it needs to be and said, okay, we're going to have to just run my system and let it be that. But even after that, there still were some things that I got to look at and say, okay, man, well, that probably wasn't the best. I would like to see, there were times, Blake, where now whether this is Hugh or Phillip, whatever, but to me, it falls back on Hugh. There were times where I felt like we went away from the hot hand. Like, Jarquez is getting hot and we don't give him the ball for a little bit. The Ole Miss game stands out there.
The
Iron Bowl. Yeah. So, there's just little things right there. So yeah, as far as just on the field, I'm gonna go C-. And the results, I feel like this team could have been 7-5. And I feel like I feel like coaching maybe kind of got in the way there. So now this whole game of like looking at every close loss and saying, that's the SEC, and the good teams win the close games. So like, I don't want to play that game too much. Now positives that Hugh did was, I think there's a big shift in the culture. I think that the guys that you'll see enter the portal are guys that either don't want to be a part of what we got going on, or guys that just aren't going to see playing time like an Anisi Sledge, right? Great kid, just not going to see time here, unfortunately. And I wish those guys nothing but the best. But I think that I think if you look at the way the team bounced back after the New Mexico State game and played their ass off in that Iron Bowl, I think if you look at the way that team bounced back after that LSU game, bounced back after that 4-game losing streak to find 3 wins, to become bowl eligible, it's even harder to do as a head coach now in the NIL era, in the portal era, when you've got people trying to poach your guys mid-season. You've got guys worried about, well, I've been here 2 years and you're bringing in this guy from the portal. Now he makes more money than me. Well, I've grinded. I mean, it's just this whole thing, right? That all these college coaches have to deal with. I think Hugh did a great job of keeping it on track this year, because a lot of Auburn teams that lost 4 games in a row would have went off the rails and not made a bowl game. And we went 5-7 last year, and you went 6-6 this year. So it's only a 1-game improvement, but it is an improvement with a patchwork team that you were trying to patch up through the transfer portal, basically. And then obviously he was able to get in there and get some significant flips. But look at the flips that we got. Look at the guys he flipped. Falk, Lee, Lou, all guys that contributed immediately. So it's that fine line. But just looking on the field, I'm going to go C-. I think it got a lot. It was trending to be an F. I think it got a lot better as the season went on. Now, overall, recruiting and everything else, I think Hugh's doing one hell of a job. And I think that this next month is why you have Hugh Freeze as your head coach. Because I'm starting to feel like, I'm not going to say he's the best recruiter in the country, but tell me somebody that's better. He's up there with all of them. And this is Hugh's time to shine right here. So, I love what he's doing.
College football is won with Jimmy's and Joes, not X's and O's. All right. Yeah. That's an old saying from back in the day. I think when you start looking at the NFL, that's where it gets X's and O's a whole lot more. But college, man, you got to have the dudes.
SS Austin says, I give Freeze a 6.5. I like that. That's fair. Jonathan with a B. SS Austin gives us a letter grade C+. Brad Browning says C-. As much as I hate to say it, I get the talent gap where they seem unprepared at times. Kind of on the same line as me and Brad. SS Austin saying mainly C+ because of the QB rotation thing that went on. Yeah, I mean, we all kind of agree that was just, and I think that Hugh would sit you down and tell you, hey, I made a mistake. I should have nipped that in the bud sooner than I did. Let's see. James says, Blake, to your point, I think if Coach Hugh Freeze would have been more involved in the offense, maybe we do win 10 games. We let Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and A&M off the hook. I'll disagree with this one, James, just because I think that being in those games is like the next step, right? But I still don't think we have the talent to beat those teams. I think that Hugh got us now to the point where we were in the, and like we gave some of these away, but I still don't think that we were good enough to. I don't think this team was ever good enough to win 10 games.
What A&M?
We got smoked at A&M. We never. Our only offensive touchdown was on defense.
We just couldn't. Nobody could make a play, and then Peyton overthrowing. Who was it? Jay Fair down the sideline.
Fair on the sideline.
Yeah, that was a disastrous day. I don't know if I can put that one on. Well, I don't know. Yeah. LSU. Look, I saw a comment earlier saying, was LSU trash without Jaden? And yeah, I think they were. I think they were trash if they didn't have Jaden Daniels. But they were a whole hell of a lot better than us that night in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I think that was a tough spot for us to go in to Baton Rouge as well. But
you have to have pass rushers, Blake. You have to have pass rushers. And Jordan Jefferson's going to eat you alive if you don't have them.
Yeah,
and we don't have them because the last 5 years we haven't recruited them to the level we need to.
We also didn't have anybody that could keep up with Jaden, and I mean, dude's elite. He's going to win the Heisman.
So?
Yeah, it's for sure. Me personally, it is what it is. Dude put up hella stats and everything, but he did a hell of a job, man. He had a hell of a season. But for me, like what Penix did, A+ stuff. But I get why people are going Jade, man. Dude was on another level, on another planet. But then you look at the Ole Miss game, man. I don't know. We just didn't get anything going. We had good field position for the most part. We caused Jackson Dart not to play his best game. He struggled in Jordan-Hare. We had an opportunity, and we let it go. And then Georgia had them on the hook, on the hook, and we let them off. And Cam Riley didn't make a play over there on the sideline. He dropped that pick, and the like you mentioned, the 3rd and 4th and 1, and then man, there was a numerous amount of plays that we could look at in that Georgia game, and then the Alabama game. I mean, look, let's be honest. You field a punt. I guess that's another strike I could throw against Hugh, is you didn't even know who was in the game to field the punt. I think we got to clean some of those things up. I just 4th and goal from the 31. It still haunts me, man. As an Auburn fan, I'm still absolutely gutted about that play. And I text Dustin the other day, and I said, dude, if Alabama wins Saturday in Atlanta, they're going to get into the college football playoff. And in our game day group chat, they said, hey, who gets in? And I said, Alabama is getting in the playoff before Florida State does. It's not hard. It's easy to see. All right? They do not want Florida State in that playoff. Lo and behold, Alabama wins. My heart went straight to my stomach, Dustin. I just said, this is the most, because they're going to win it. They're going to win the national championship.
Yeah.
It's over. Number 19 is on the way. And that's what sucks about it, man, is we literally had them and we let them off the hook. So I just think the future's bright, man. I think the future's bright, and as we wind down, we're going to a bowl game, and uh, we get to kick little Tua's, you know, get after him, and I didn't want to say it, but we get to get after him. We get to have a little fun, man, in the Music City, Nashville. I'm thinking about going. I haven't really looked at tickets yet, but it's that weekend, and um, I kind of want to go up there, man. I didn't go to an Auburn game this year because I flew out to Oregon and everything, so I kind of want to go see the boys one last time.
Yeah. Let's see. James pops in and says, "Fellas, that's what I was referring to. The plays were there to be made, and we just didn't make them." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure, and that's kind of we just got to build that culture of winning, James. There was one I had started I want to get to before we get out of here. Dale asked, who makes the biggest impact out of the 2024 freshman class? And then he also follows up and says that he thinks Bryce Kane is being slept on. He thinks all of our young receivers will eat. Look, Blake, who do you think makes the biggest impact out of this 2024 class coming in?
At the receiver position?
He didn't specify that, but the answer is at the receiver position.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if it's done yet. Yeah, we don't know if it's done yet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't care.
Yeah, if that did happen, which I don't know. But yeah, I mean Cam Coleman, like as bad as Auburn has been at receiver, you got to look at Cam Coleman, and who is now a 5-star plus. And say, why not Cam Coleman? He's gonna start from day one. Like
day one.
It's like him and Perry are both probably gonna start. Like, don't fool yourself. It's just gonna happen, man. That's how good they are. And it's gonna be fun. Hopefully we can figure out the quarterback position. Peyton, I don't know what's going on there. Like, I don't know. Nobody's saying anything out of the portal. Like, everybody's saying that Auburn's not getting a QB out of the portal. Are they focusing on more NIL or what? Or, I don't know right now. It's up in lingo. If Hugh decides to stick with Peyton, I'll trust you, and hopefully Peyton continues to get better. I don't know, man. There's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, the answer to your question is Cam Coleman or Jamonte Waller, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that we need edge rushers bad, and either Jamonte or Joe Phillips will step in right away and be able to go, and both of them guys will be able to help out. And then Cam is going to be a day one guy, will be starting immediately. And on the point of Bryce Kane, me and Blake have seen Bryce several times. Bryce is an absolute dog, dog playmaker. So yeah, the fact that guys like him and Malcolm Simmons are the guys that are being slept on is very, very encouraging. So for sure. Before we get out of here, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. What you got, brother?
I was just going to ask you one more thing. You brought up Waller, LJ McCray.
Mm-hmm.
You think there's a chance?
Oh, there's definitely a chance. It's kind of, I checked on this one today, right? It's kind of like everything that you're hearing right now. You don't want to. I'm leaning towards you. I'm leaning towards he's going to be a part of this class. Not a prediction, but as we sit here right now, I think we get him.
Yeah, dude, we got to be. I mean, we got to be through the roof, man. There's so much excitement, man. Let's go.
Yo, Malcolm says we got to see 19 on those flowy helmets. If you're talking about Maryland's uniforms, dog, let me tell you something.
No, he's talking about Bama.
Oh, yeah, because they stick the championship year on the helmet. Yeah, whatever. I thought you were talking about Maryland's ridiculous helmets, because that's gonna be fun to stare at for 4 quarters. But yeah,
that's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game. Auburn, Maryland. It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, we got a whole lot coming out about this Music City Bowl, man. Let's see. Jonathan says KJ Bolden will flip. I think I do too. Now, here's the thing about this one. We'll end on this one. I've always said on KJ, a guy that's been close to committing a couple times, but one time specifically where he's said publicly, "Hey, look, I was about to say yes to Hugh Freeze."
Mm-hmm.
So I never I never really considered us too far out of that one. I always knew this was going to come down to the end, and we would have our day, and we would have our final push. I do worry about Mike Norvell getting the last word because he is a good recruiter himself, and obviously he's sold KJ enough for that to be where the commitment currently lies. So yeah, but man, obviously all the momentum, all the energy right now. There's a lot of energy and momentum around Ryan Williams. Blake just asked me about LJ McCray. Listen, dude, it's gonna be these next couple of weeks are gonna be fun. Do we get all of them? No, we're not gonna get all of them, but we're still gonna get some of them. And this class is gonna end up landing well inside the top 10. It's gonna be better than we even thought. So yeah, listen, guys, tons and tons of recruiting content coming. Basketball stuff's about to get ramped up for our members. I will get that pod pumped out for you guys tomorrow. Hit that like button if you have not, man. Hit that subscribe button if you have not. Blake, I wanted to give a special shout out to all the Bama fans that continue to watch our content and continue to give us the algorithm boost, man. Big shout out to you guys. I don't have the time or day to go back and watch hours of Bama podcast. So for you guys to find the time of day to support your rival podcast here, we really appreciate you guys, man. It means the world to us. Mike, what's up to you, big dog? Appreciate you greatly. And War Damn Eagle, we'll be back here Friday, and we'll let Blake take us home.
Yeah, look, I don't give a damn about no Alabama podcast. All right, I don't give a dang about nothing. All right. Like old Willie says, the Alabama fan, where he says, "I don't give a piss about nothing." Oh, I guess what? I don't give a piss about nothing but them trees, dog. All right, that's it. All right, I don't care about watching no Alabama podcast. See y'all Friday. Holler at y'all. War Eagle out.
War Damn.